Welcome friends and neighbors from all around the world to the next project. This should be episode 3 of our Harley Benton TE20 remod project, but I don't know what to call it. Karma came a-knocking and opened my eyes to some things I didn't like. So the dye and clear sealer have been stripped away. Some more work was done. I re-dyed it, did some other work, found some other things I didn't like. The veneer then came off. Yes, I stripped this all the way back down to the original body and have since re-veneered this guitar body. Why? Why, John? Why do you do that? I have no answer. We added some new carves here and also changed out how the ferrules go through the back, so that's kind of exciting. Well, let's try to get caught up to where we should be as we start, or restart, the next project. As I was getting this guitar prepped for color and clear, I noticed a little defect, and as I picked at it, I realized that the clear sealer I had used was delaminating from the RIT dye. Well, I can't let that go out the door, so I scraped it away, and we are about to start over, which then snowballs. Oh boy. Shaving the sealer off went really well. Comes off, actually came off too easy, but it's good to figure it out now instead of later. So we've got the front and the back shaved off. Still has the sides. Where it was on the bare wood, it stuck really well, or on the previous sealer, it stuck really well. So now it's time to resand everything. Get it pretty much back down to bare veneer and resand the sides. And then we're gonna try it again, whatever that is. So moral of the story is experiment. Do your own experiments. Try stuff. That's how we learn. Let's keep rolling. We'll just say that things didn't go real well. I did sand the green dye all back, prepped the veneer again, re-stained or re-dyed the veneer. But the problem I was having, I was cutting the RIT dye with water, and the veneers were absorbing so much water, I don't think they were drying out completely. I think that's part of my initial delamination problem. In the future, I'm going to try the RIT dye with alcohol to thin it, but since I got this far, I had to strip the veneers back, and there was a commenter who said, hey, it'd be cool if you added a comfort contour to reach those high frets on this guitar. So we went ahead and did it. I think it's going to be all right. Looks good. Ooh, I can hit the high notes now. Nice. So even though this was kind of a train wreck episode, a lot of bad things happened one after another, chain reaction of bad things. It is kind of interesting, and we can learn from this. I probably won't be able to explain everything that I'm learning, but the easy sanding sealer that I used, the polyester sealer, sanded out, is 0.02 of an inch thick, which is really quite thin. I was then wondering, well, how thick is my hair? So I did a removal of a couple hairs. I actually got 3. 2 of them spec'd out at just over 1/1000 of an inch thick. One of them came out to be about 2.5 thousandths thick, so it was a little bit thicker than this. I did not pull a whisker bristle out. I'm guessing those might be even thicker yet. I guess I could do that. So it's interesting to know that this polyester sanding sealer can be sanded as thin, roughly, as human hair. Keep in mind, this is not the finish coat. We'd still need color and clear coat, which would thicken up our finish coat. This is pretty darn thin. This is not going to hurt the sound at all. And this was no failure of the polyester sealer either. This was a failure of the substrate this was attempting to stick to, which it did. You can see it pulled off green. So it pulled dye away from the body. What caused that? I'm guessing it was likely operator error. Person who applied the dye did it improperly. And there's also probably some incompatibility of materials. There's probably a better way to do it. I know some people have had very good luck. I'm still working on that. Maybe someday I'll find the secret recipe and I'll share it with you if I ever find it. Practice makes perfect, and man, I've got a lot of practice, it seems like. I'm getting really good at applying veneer to Telecaster style bodies. This round went really, really well. I had a little bit cleaner and faster process for getting the book match done and getting it trimmed to size. I also had that belly carve figured out, so I knew how to trim my veneer for that. I have a process for taping the veneer loosely to the body to keep it from moving as the vacuum bag draws down. Use some tight bond again. Gave each side about an hour dry time in the bag, and then we moved on. So we're getting close to being, well, a long ways away from where we should be. Yeah. This change really came out of nowhere. There was no good reason to do it other than opening up the back of the veneer, trying to find those 6 holes that I had recessed into the body. It was kind of a pain. So I decided to plug the holes in the back so I could just apply a new flat veneer. And then I picked up one of these, I call them an Ibanez style string through plate. I don't know who originally invented this shape of string ferrule plate, but I've seen it on a lot of Ibanez guitars. So I'm giving them credit, and it probably belongs to somebody else. I don't know. Making it up. A little protective blue tape on the veneer with then my double-sided pattern tape on there, my template that I just made, and a little bit of extra gap all the way around so the finish that I put on won't make the hole too small for the new ferrule plate. That's complicated. And making more sawdust, opening up the front of the guitar again, and we're another step closer. This is actually my 3rd time dyeing this guitar. First time on this new set of veneer, but 3rd go at it all over. The first 2 times I tried RIT dye, and I think I have stumbled across something. But this is trans tint dye on this guitar body now, which I have used in the past, and it's a little more aggressive. I think a little, I don't want to say easier to use, but for me it's a little more predictable what I'm going to get. I'm not giving up on the RIT dye though. There will be some testing in the future of that. I think it's a very affordable product, and if we can get it to work predictably, that'd be great. But we put down a green dye. I'm adding just a little bit of amber, or I think it's a lemon yellow, to brighten up the middle a bit, and also a little bit of blue on top of the black around the edges. I'm just messing with it, trying to get a color close, and I'm not at the same place I was the first time, but the color still looks good. This is the 2nd small can of StewMac shielding paint that I've had in the last decade. The first can, I really didn't know enough about it, and if you don't keep this stuff stirred up, it turns into a big lump in the bottom of the can. So if you plan to use this stuff and you have a can of it, open it up a couple days before you plan to use it, stir it, stir it, stir it, then shake it, set it down, come back to it the next day, repeat the same process. Otherwise, it just keeps settling out. Well, finally, we're back to adding some shininess. As you can tell, I only did green on the front of the guitar this time, and the back is kind of a ghost gray black, which is looking really good. This is just the sealer, a couple coats of the Easy Sanding Sealer, using my Arm Wrecker orbital sander, and it cuts this stuff really, really well. This is actually pretty enjoyable. Oh boy, hand sanding. Never really like hand sanding, but you gotta do it. You gotta do a lot of it. Again, you can see I'm leaving the edges shiny. I'm not sanding them until very last. And here we are doing those. I think I used either 320 or 400 just for the edges. This is just so I don't sand through the sanding sealer. You want to keep some finish there. Well, it looks like we're going to save this train wreck from the fire heap, adding a little edge color And I'm using black, and we'll be doing a burst to help tie in both the front green color and the blackish back to the sides. This is a base coat color. It's an automotive base coat, clear coat system. And I'm using the black base coat to not only paint the edges, but also do the black burst or fade or whatever you'd like to call it. 5 minutes between coats of this, 2 pretty good coats on the edges, and then 1 final coat really around the burst area just to help tie it in, make sure I didn't have any thin spots. Taking a lot of time just to look it over, looking for any little spot where there's bare wood color or something else coming through. Let it sit for about 20 minutes and mixed up some clear in that time. And here I'm quickly hitting the recesses, making sure there's going to be even coverage in all those spots, and going to town. Yes, I paint that fast. Ooh, second coat. Pretty much the same thing. I do have a sticky tack coat on it now, so I'm a little more liberal in spraying color or clear on. And the third and final coat, here we're at live speed. I'm checking the masking area just to see if the clear is tacked up enough to shoot a third and final coat on. Giving it a quick look to make sure there's no crazy runs or anything happening. And there are not. This thing, the only problem with it is there is a little dust. I'm painting in a garage. I do have some exhaust fans, which is great. That's a huge improvement. But there's always a chance of getting a little dust or some flying insect or something cruising through. I don't have an actual paint booth, but this is as close as I'm going to get for any time soon. So the third coat is going on, moving kind of slow, getting it on there thick enough it'll flow out nice, not thick enough it's going to run off, and it's looking honestly really good. I was really worried about this guitar just a couple days before this. Things had gone really, really bad. Really bad. And I think we're going to save it. What do you think? Giving it a few last spins, making sure I have even coverage everywhere. Again, making sure there's no clear running off. And you can see I have a really nice smooth finish going at this point, and the clear hasn't even flown out yet. It continues to smooth out as the guitar sits. Well, I think we are at an end for this episode because we have gone full circle from a complete train wreck, basically scrapping the thing, going all the way back to bare wood on the original body, to rebuilding it, new veneer, new dye work, different type of dye, to adding color on the edges and clear all the way around. And I must say it went fabulously. The clear flowed out really nice. It looks great. Another nice thing about the unfortunate accident of having to start all over is I did something different. I changed the color on the back. This is like a ghost gray, black. Got a little bit of green and a little bit of blue in it also. So depending on which angle you look at it, it kind of does a chameleon thing, which was an accident, but it's cool. Also went back and I changed where the string through holes go through. By viewer request, changed out the carve on the lower horn. So, you know, accidents can lead to great things. We're going to go with that. I just keep telling myself, I'll believe it eventually. This guitar is looking good now, so I'm very happy we're back on track. Thanks for sticking with me through this episode. We've had a lot of laughs. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please, please, please. Leave a comment because I love hearing from everybody all around the world. It's really neat seeing the reach of these videos and the great family we have all doing this stuff together. Give it a thumbs up because that's good. And ring the bell for future notifications, please. I appreciate that. Take care of yourself and those around you. And until next time, bye.